again, and in this video I'm reviewing to The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 4, Indifference. I really enjoyed this episode. Yes, it was not a very intense episode, there wasn't like a lot of action, and some people were complaining about that, but you know what, for me, I thought this was a very big episode with good character development, a lot of big stuff happened. Not really action, but a lot of really big scenes happened. It was definitely a November Sweeps episode, and I really enjoyed this episode. I've been really enjoying this season. I know some people have been mixed with it, but I have been enjoying all 4 of these episodes. I think they've all been fantastic, and this episode was no exception. It was fantastic. And I really loved the main plot of this episode. The subplot's really good too, but the main plot especially I thought was really, really big, and there's definitely some stuff I want to talk about with the main plot. Alright, so the episode starts off where we see Rick. He's preparing for a trip out, and then we see Carol. She's talking to Lizzie, and the reason she's talking to Lizzie is because Carol and Rick are going on the supply run, and they have to leave. She has to leave Lizzie behind, so she's talking to her about Lizzie has to stay strong no matter what, and she has to be careful while she's in the quarantine. And she tells Carol how the people in the cell block are going to die soon, but that they will at least be something instead of just dead. But Carol tries to argue otherwise to Lizzie that she cannot take the walkers to be anything anymore. She just thinks of them as walkers, but of course Lizzie sees them as something more, which still makes me think that she's the one that's tying the dead rats and feeding them to the walkers. They have not really talked about that. I do think that's going to come back eventually, but they haven't really been talking about that. I don't know where that plot went, but they're eventually going to be addressing that, I'm sure. We're going to probably get more of that, definitely. And the biggest thing here, though, is that Lizzie accidentally calls Carol Mom. And when Carol hears her call her Mom, she says, don't ever call me Mom again. And she says, I'm sorry. And she said, it's okay, just don't do it. So I was kind of like, Carol, that was kind of harsh. I really thought Carol would be flattered by that and say, you know what, I'm sorry, but I can't really be your mother. She could have said that in a different way. She could have just said, I know you think of me as a mother, but I don't really think of you, but you're not, you know I'm not really your mother, right? She didn't really have to say it the way she did. She was very harsh the way she said it. It doesn't seem like she really cares about Lizzie, and I was kind of surprised by it. I really thought that, you know, she would have even adopted them. A lot of people thought that was going to happen, but that didn't happen, and I was kind of like, oh, Carol, that was kind of harsh. Elsewhere, though, Rick is kind of picturing in his head how Carol killed Karen and David, and he's not bringing it up. It's in his mind, and it's definitely going to come up in this supply run. We know that's going to come up in the conversation, but he's not talking to her about it. So, then we come back and from commercials, and we see that he takes Carol for a supply run. They see this house there, and they find this couple, Sam and Anna, and the two have been there for only 2 days, and they explain they're constantly moving rather than staying in one place. And you know, I really like this couple. At first, Rick kind of just tells him, you know, stay put, I don't want you to go anywhere. They really want to help them and everything, but he says, stay put. They even want to go back to the prison with them, but Rick says, no, stay put where you are. I don't want anything bad happening to you. And, but Carol says, you know what? Why don't you let them join? But the thing is that they're not very, in shape, and Rick is kind of reluctant about it. Eventually he says, alright, you can come. But he's very reluctant about this. He doesn't really know what's going to come out of this, and, I mean, that's not really a good decision that they made, but what are you going to do? That's what happened, though, with that. But slowly after this, you know, Rick lets them stay. He's reluctant, but he gives them handguns and his watch, and he tells them to meet them back in 2 hours, instructing them to shoot the guns if they're in trouble. Then after this, we see that Rick finally questions Carol because she says, you know, we've been here for quite a few hours and you still have not talked to me about Kevin and David. So he finally questions her about it. He says, why'd you do it? And she ends up telling her feelings about it, and she seems strong and unnerving against what she has done, and Rick is very upset because of her lack of emotion. She doesn't even, like, have remorse over this. She's just like, you know, whatever, I killed them. Why is this such a big deal? And Carol questions Rick on his leadership, telling him that he just can't be a farmer, which basically means when it comes to protecting people, he doesn't really protect people. He just kills who he has to kill. And he argues that he never killed any of his own people. But then she brings up Shane, who apparently was like a very big part of Carol's life. I didn't see season 1, so I didn't know that. But Rick argues that Shane attacked him first, and later, after this, Carl and Rick hear something, and it turns out that it's on his dead body being eaten by walkers, and Carol seems unfazed. They wait in the side of the house, and, Rick is kind of like, oh, damn, what did I do? Why did I let them do that? Why didn't I just listen to myself and say, you know what, you can't come with us? Why did I have to do that? Because he could have saved their lives, and he's just kind of upset about this. But slowly after this, they wait inside the house for Sam. He does not show up. Rick wants to wait longer, but Carol, uncaring, urges him to leave. So we don't know what happened to Sam, but, yeah. Then we get the biggest scene of all after this, with Rick and Carol. So they're preparing to leave the neighborhood, but Rick locks Carol out of the car because he really wants to talk to her, and he says, he tells her that, you know what, Karen and David might have lived. He says, if you hadn't killed them, they might have lived. And he tells Carol, he says, Carol, when Tyrese finds out that you did this, he is going to kill you. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. He's going to kill you no matter what. Because if you remember the last week's episode, Rick said, you know what, I'm going to find out whoever did this, and I'm going to bring him to you, and you can do whatever you want with them. That's what he said to Tyrese in the last episode. And he knows that Tyrese is out for blood, and whoever does it, he's definitely going to kill them. He's not going down without a fight. He says that the others in the main group, with her decision that she took matters into her own hands when she didn't have the right to do so. And you know what, a lot of people were kind of, skeptical about what Rick did to her, and you know what, I definitely agree with this point. Even though what she did, she thought that was the best thing to do for the group, it was unacceptable what she did. She killed them for no reason. She's a murderer no matter what. And, yes, Rick did that, but again, she did it for two reasons. She does bring up a good point here, two good points. One, she thought she could stop the disease from spreading by killing them. Two, she thought they were just going to die anyway. But, this kind of true because the disease is spreading no matter what. There's nothing she can do to stop it, so killing them did nothing. So she's still unfazed, arguing that she can handle Tyrese. Rick tells her that if the others don't make it back to the prison, that he himself will not let Carol either. And at this point, Carol finally shows emotion and argues that she did what she had to do, and she says that she wants to bring the two girls that she cares for at the prison with her. We see that she does care for the two girls. She just isn't really showing her emotion. But Rick will not allow her to take the two girls, and he blankly stares at her and says, Carol, you know what? I think you can survive on your own for a while. So he ends up leaving her, and he loads the other car with some supplies for Carol. She in turn gives Rick her pocket watch. So it's a present from Ed, her dead husband, saying that she should have given away a long time ago. Rick watches Carol pull out and drive away. So it ends with Rick driving down the road, unsure of what he has just done. He's not really sure if it's the best decision he made. And some people have been a little like, why did Rick do this? I think I know exactly why he did this. He does not want Carol to die because he knows what she did. She thought she was doing the right thing. So I think that's why, too, Carol really does need to be away from herself for a while. She's involved in this. She's definitely made some bad decisions. She needs to think about what she's done. And I do think she needs to be on her own for a while. I do think that definitely is something true. And I think what Rick did was a good idea. It's not like he just, completely banished her. It was just he didn't want her to come back to the prison. He wants her to stay on her own for a while. And it's not like he tried to kill her or anything. I thought he was gonna kill her. I really thought he was gonna kill her. I'm like, oh my god, there was a big scene coming with a car. I thought there was gonna be some type of a car crash or something and Carol would have died. But that did not happen. So yeah, I thought the main plot was really good. The subplot, though, had to do with, Daryl, Michonne, Bob, and Tyrese are still there on the looking for a cure to the disease, and they come upon this gas station while looking for a new car, and while cutting the brush away from the door, Tyrese is very forceful, and Daryl warns him to calm down. Tyrese unknowingly servers wire holding the door shut, and walkers attack the group. Tyrese intentionally lets a walker overtake him and pin him to the ground, but Bob and Daryl save him. Michonne questions Tyrese on his intentions, telling him that anger makes one do stupid things, that he needs to push on. Tyrese returns the questioning about Michonne's hunting for the governor when he is not to be found. Shortly, and she basically says, why are you still looking for the governor if he's not supposed to be found? And, shortly after they make it into the shop, Bob confides in Daryl about his alcoholism and his guilt in the incident in the store that resulted in Zach's death. And Daryl tells Bob not to take it upon himself so harshly, and the two of them fix a car outside of the shop. Then Daryl and the others arrive at the college to look for supplies, and this is the big scene in the episode, the big, like, walker attack scene. One of the rooms, Bob goes into a corner to grab an object while Michonne eyes him suspiciously because they don't really know if they should trust Bob Stookie at this point. You know what? I don't know if I should trust Bob. I kind of trust him, but at the same time, I don't trust him. I think that's how we all are. We don't really trust Bob Stookie because he's a new character. You never know. He could be working for the governor for all we know. We don't know. But he almost loses his bag due to a group of walkers down below and refuses to let go of it, almost resulting in his own death while the other three try to help him up. The bag bursts open, revealing that Bob has a bottle of alcohol and no medicine whatsoever. They thought he had medicine in the bag, but it's actually alcohol. And when Daryl tries to chuck the bottle away, Bob tells him not to and almost draws his gun. Daryl, in rage, approaches Bob, disarms him, and grabs him, almost prepared to throw him to the walkers. Tyrese tells Daryl to let him go, saying that Bob has made his own choice. Daryl allows him the bottle, but Daryl warns Bob that he would be eaten if he takes a drink before the people at the prison get the medicine. And then the episode ends as Rick and Carol are leaving in the car. Daryl and the others are making their way back to the prison. So that was basically the episode. I definitely enjoyed this episode tonight. Last night I thought it was a really great episode. I thought they did a really great job with some of the performances, especially from Carol and Rick. I thought what Rick did was a good thing. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Do you think what Rick did was a good thing? Do you think he should have let Carol on her own? What do you think is going to happen to Tyrese when he finds out about this? Is Rick going to tell Tyrese? I don't think he is. I think he's going to say, I didn't find out yet. And what do you think is going to happen with Bob Stookie? Do you trust him? I don't really know. And as far as Carol and Two Girls, what do you think? Do you think we'll see Carol again? Do you think this is the end of her? I don't think this is the end. I think we will see her again eventually. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be Witches of the East End. So see you then. Bye.